All right, hit that like, everybody. We're about to get started. Oh, yes. Now, let's see. Here we go. One more thing. And ladies and gentlemen, hey, there we are. Welcome to the show, everybody. Hi, it's and mic's on. We're good. Okay. Happy Friday to you. Sorry about the only half show today because I was on Dino Vidala's show and they pre-tape it. So I just did that. Just finished a couple seconds ago, and it'll be on later on this afternoon on his show. As you might imagine, I went after the bedwetters, and it was a good time. Now, Texas Paul will be joining us in just a couple minutes, I think, somewhere in there, I think, probably any minute now, at his leisure. I want to, first of all, say hi, chat room. Let's get up here. Hi, chat room. Welcome. Yes, call your Congress people. Please tell them to support Joe Biden. I agree. That would be a good thing to do this week. Yeah. Thank God it's fucking Friday. Is that what TGIFF is? I like it. Hello. So many fair weather Dems. What's up with CNN and Clooney dissing Biden? Part of it is giving them the benefit of the doubt. It's a panic about their fear of how awful Donald Trump is. And there he is. There's Texas Paul in the background. Let me roll in here and grab him and bring him in here with us and make sure that I can get this up here so I can see. There you go. One moment. Let's see if this works in studio mode. We'll see. No. Okay, hold on. It's being weird. Then we go to me and a guest, and I'll change this guy, and we'll bring in, there we go. I have my Texas Paul link in here somewhere. Where's his graphic? It's got to be in here someplace. Well, either way, I'll bring him in, and then we'll bring him in there. And you can hear me, sir?
I can hear you just fine.
Excellent. Hold on one second, and I'll pop you in here, and close. There we go. And hopefully,
this is why I wear a white shirt all the time.
Yes, because you have a white cat. Aha. Who's that?
That's my producer, Dolly Parton.
Aha.
Dolly Parton.
Best little cat house in Texas. Well, first of all, welcome. We have not had a chance to talk since the last 2 bad fucking weeks. I think the staffer called it on that recording. Your thoughts about the latest stuff? I've of course been following you online, but the floor is yours.
What are we talking about? We talking about the interview last night, the press conference,
the
what?
Biden bedwetting leading up to the press conference yesterday, and.
Well, look, I'll tell you exactly what I was just shooting some video. That's what I was doing before I walked in here, and I'll tell you before I release it out on social media. They don't understand us. They don't get it. They can't wrap their head around the fact that we know who Trump is. We know who MAGA is. We know what they are. Yep. Joe Biden is going to go down in history as one of the best presidents we ever had. No matter what happens from this point on, the economy, we're in mild. Have you ever seen monetary policy that's been better?
Nope.
I haven't. I really haven't. NATO has never been tighter. Just one thing after another. Every metric you can just scream about how great Joe Biden is. But I don't care. Pull that completely off the table. And I walk into the booth. Donald Trump is unacceptable.
Right.
MAGA is unacceptable. Period. End of story. These people, I don't associate with them. I damn sure don't support their politics. I don't support what they do. I am riding with Biden. I would not care if the man was on life support.
Right.
had been the most half-assed president in American history, I would still walk into that booth right now and vote blue from the top of the ticket to the bottom, period. Right. And nobody can give me an argument as to why I shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Yeah, I'm kind the irony is that, with Trump's whole, I could shoot somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue and not lose any votes was one of his famous phrases. This was a defining aspect of his presidency. And then the Supreme Court goes and gives him that exact power, effectively, says, yeah, it actually kind of can. If he's president at the time and the gun was purchased by the government, it's an official act, right? And exactly. And anybody's hemming and hawing at all about Biden. Now, what have we learned, I think, about especially the polling, trust it or don't, since the debate? It has not moved at all. It is in no area. I mean,
that's not true.
To benefit
internal
Biden.
Internal Democratic polling shows that Biden walked into that debate with 80% support among Democrats. He now has 85% support among Democrats. He's picked up 5 points.
And his enthusiasm gap went from 28%, which he had beforehand, to 91% now. People are excited to vote about him in a way that they feel like defensive about it. On top of that, though, I mean, just in the general polling that we've seen, if we're to understand that the debate was, and I quote, devastating. Devastating. That was the word, right? During, after, since. Everybody who's described it, devastating, right? That's what it is. Okay, well, devastating means you were at 50% and you went to 10 or 20. You were absolutely off the charts. No one is going to vote for you now. That's what devastation is. Not devastating, and that's why it's still within the margin of error, just like it was in 2020 when Biden kicked Trump's ass. Just like it was during 2022 when everybody said there was going to be a red wave and it collapsed. Biden's numbers are getting better since the debate and since the criticism of the debate.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, 100%. And please forgive me for drinking. I've been talking for 2 hours, so
I completely understand.
I don't understand. What I don't understand is how out of touch all of these people can be. I mean, this isn't hard. You're a history guy. Yeah. Let's take I call them the billionaire frat boy club, the Republican donors. These men do not seem to have ever cracked a history book. What happens every single time they do something like they're doing now? There are graves. I mentioned this in my show today, Hal. There are graves all over Russia filled with absolute Russian wealthy elitists, unmarked, uncelebrated, because when you try to do the things that you're doing, the backlash from the people always ends up with you underground. Right. And it's not a threat. It's just, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Hal. You're one of the smartest guys I know, bud. Tell me if I'm reading this wrong. They cannot control this Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah. Well, in terms of both on the MAGA side of things, there is no pleasing MAGA. There never will be. And they will never be, that thirst can never be quenched because it is an impossibility in a modern society. And there's no, you're not putting the racism back in the toothpaste tube. You just aren't. The French Revolution is another great example of people shitting the bed by getting what they want. The French Revolution was a violent, horrifying act that led to, in many ways, a similar system of government as violent and horrible as the royalty was, just like, the Soviet Union post-Tsar. It's just a different group of people asserting their control. Look at the Chinese emperor to the Communist Party. There's materially no difference between how they treat people. It's just who gets treated that way. And democracy and the reason why the Xi Jinpings and the theocrats and the Vladimir Putins and the Donald Trumps of the world hate it is because you can't run it that way. It doesn't work. And so they've been fighting it ever since.
Yeah, and the disconnect between what actually happens historically, we all talk about, and I hate to redo my show again, but this is exactly what we were talking about today, Hal. I brought up The Handmaid's Tale. We look at that and we say, okay, that's what we fear, and they look at that and say, that's what we want. It's a fiction, Hal.
Yeah.
It's fiction. That is not what happens when you do this. It's not what happens when you try to do this. The French Revolution is what happens.
Yeah.
The Handmaid's Tale is fiction. Guillotines are real.
Right.
They really exist.
Pence. It's a great example because right now Donald Trump is having to pick a new vice president for his second term, his attempted second term, because he tried to kill his first vice president. This is the party. This is who they're voting for. They're not voting for, hey, we had a great thing last time, let's not screw it up. He literally has to swap guys because his supporters thought that guy was insufficiently loyal and wouldn't do what they said to override democracy, so they wanted him dead. They brought wood and rope and nails and hammers and screw guns that were charged up. They spent the night making sure the battery was charged on their screw gun so they could assemble a gallows in front of the capital of our country so that they could hang their own fucking guy. That's who this group is. And again, that's going to become even clearer the closer we get to this election cycle. The biggest story around whoever Trump picks for his vice president must, I insist, be why he has to pick a new one.
I agree with you. And there are different groups that we need to talk to bring them back to reality. One of it is the media. Brian Roberts, the guy that runs Comcast, you're a Politico man. You've been following, you understand politics. You know what Comcast has meant to the Republican Party. Yeah. I don't know about you, but it's like when they attacked Budweiser. I got so much schadenfreude from that because I'm like, Budweiser was just a regular contributor to the Republican Party, and they turned on them in a heartbeat. Mm-hmm. Brian Roberts over at Comcast. That guy gave $250,000 to Trump's inauguration. Remember the inauguration where we can't find out where all the money went because it sure as hell didn't go to the inauguration? As soon as Brian Roberts fired, I'm tongue-tied right now. I'm former head of the RNC, McDaniels, Rona Romney McDaniels. Yeah. As soon as he fired her, Trump turned on him on a dime, called him a slime ball. Went after him just neck deep into this guy's butt, man. And they hate the guy.
Yeah.
And Comcast has been one of their most loyal foundations forever. Why can these people who are not uneducated rubes see it's going to be something, anything? He's going to turn on you. And you, my friend, after the 2025 project, you're going to die.
Yeah,
that's what it means.
Yeah. Because, again, we can go back through the fact that Epstein, quote unquote, died in jail, committed suicide, what have you, and anybody's feelings about that. But look at the dudes who died in the helicopter crash that were part of Trump's casino. Look at the people that arranged for money through Deutsche Bank who have gone missing over the years and stuff. There are bigger people at play around Trump and all this stuff than he. And even if he's not a participant in it, he's been a useful idiot for all the worst frigging people on earth. And when he outlives his usefulness, he's gone too. We think a lot about how he needs to be president so he can stay out of jail. He also needs to stay president or he no longer serves Putin or any of his interests. Then what? Then he's a guy who knows a bunch of shit, who's one book away from blowing the whole scheme and who's broke.
Yeah. Yeah, like the CEO of Rheinmetall.
Yes.
The CEO of Rheinmetall. Did you catch that?
Yes,
We
German,
just
for those who don't
stopped
know,
the assassination.
yeah, the
Go
U.S.
ahead.
and the Germans stopped an assassination attempt against a German military contractor. It was announced the last couple of days. Yeah, and the
Yeah.
Russians were trying to
And
kill him, knock him off.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is a powerful guy. This is a guy that actually has clout. I mean, the
Yeah.
CEO of Rheinmetall, he has an army. I mean, I don't know how to explain to you folks, but defense contractors believe in defense, and they
Yeah.
keep a level of security around that is unlike anything you have ever seen. They literally have private armies, and Putin was going to kill this guy. I mean, it was just that simple because Rheinmetall is providing artillery shells to Ukraine,
Right.
and he was going to kill him. Walk into the sovereign nation of Germany and execute one of the most
It
powerful
won't be the first
CEOs
time.
in the country.
You know, again, Russia has killed people in Germany before. Like this is, and again, beyond the whole like Trump has an affinity for autocrats, which is what Biden said, and he's being very nice about it. Why? Well, a lot of people assume because Trump is an egomaniac that it has a lot to do with him just wanting parades and people to salute him and kiss his ass, and that is certainly a part of it. But the other thing is that the amount of power you get in just being able to get rid of a problematic person, just make them disappear, appeals to him and his ilk, and especially the Stephen Millers around him and the Jason Millers and the Sebastian Gorkas and certainly fucking Mike Flynn. They like the idea that, hey, we can kill somebody and they're not even allowed to look at who did it. That's the goal. That's what Project 2025 is. It's an it's an assassination card.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And they're stupid enough, too, to think that, one, they never have an original idea, ever.
No.
All they do is they read a history book somewhere and say, that worked, let's try to do that. And then they're not smart enough, big picture people enough to realize, okay, that didn't happen in a vacuum. There was an entire world worth of consequence and structure and a whole lot of things that made that happen. You're not going to just do what they did and say what they said and get the same results. They're not big picture enough to see that. And they're just walking down this path. And again, it's why they can't understand. We can see this. Mm-hmm. We can see what they're doing. We understand that the 2025 project means that not only on January 20th, and I keep stressing this to people, and I'm going to tell your audience the same thing. The 2025 project does not begin on January 21st, 2025. Right. It ends on January 21st, 2025. They have already got the applicants in place. Then they go in and they force these people into our government. Then they have another subsequent plan, which is to abuse the disciplinary process. To you remember when Reagan fired all the air traffic controllers and they sued to get their job back and this and that. Good luck suing to get that job back with this Supreme Court, because these conservatives don't believe in that. They believe in what Reagan did. So they're going to take the least qualified people in the frickin' universe that hate government. They're going to shove them into every aspect of our government, and they're going to destroy it. What's left?
Right.
I mean, this isn't hyperbole.
Yeah.
Hal. This isn't like academic. When they do this, they're telling you they're going to do this. They're telling everybody that will listen, this is what we're going to do. What's left?
Yeah. Well,
you can see where the government goes.
Yeah, I've made the case that we're not there. We don't even have to operate in a hypothetical when it comes to women's rights. Women are second-class citizens in the United States right now because of decisions that voters made in 2016. That giving Donald Trump the benefit of the doubt or letting him slide by, or a bunch of fucking faux-gressives saying, all kinds of horrible shit about Hillary Clinton and buying into the right-wing narrative on her, either stood down, didn't vote, or voted against her, or voted Jill Stein or some other shit, and handed the reins of the government to Donald Trump, who put in place the Supreme Court we have now that made that decision. They not only made the decision to eliminate women's rights, they all of them lied during their confirmation hearings, saying that they wouldn't do it so they could get in and do it. That's who they put in place there. Now, Women now, if you want to move to a state in this country, you have to decide which rights you want to have. Because you have to be, you got to make a choice. Do you want all your rights or just some of them? That's a decision when you move from one state to another. In the United States of America, there is not a single man in this country that has to do that.
Yeah, I played a clip today of Jason Miller talking about how Newsmax, we're in that part of the campaign where they try to backpedal and make everything seem softer and less, I didn't really say all that crap you just saw me say. Just saw Jason Miller, the Newsmax, was trying desperately to soft sell the whole abortion thing to him and how they're not going to, and they were talking about tracking women's reproductive systems.
Yeah.
Getting into their OBGYNs and all the other stuff. And Newsmax was saying, oh, well, Trump doesn't believe that. And Jason Miller could not take the hint. He could not just go along with it. Right. The most he could come out with was, well, we believe that the states need to do what the states are going to do, and we're not going to interfere with that, which is, yeah, that's exactly what Alabama's going to do.
Here's the thing.
They're telling you to your face.
Yeah. If you think a state has a right to eliminate, to track a woman's periods, to determine if she's pregnant or pregnant enough or what have you, for whatever different rules you want to try to implement on forcing women to carry babies to term, whatever that is. What I don't understand is the whole anti-vaxxer government control people, why they don't see the slippery slope. The people who think that the government wants to put a chip in your head, you don't think that if that bullshit ever happens, it doesn't start with the government having the right to track the menstrual cycles of women? What more invasive thing can you come up with?
No, it's not just the right. I mean, they're telling you they're going to do it. Ladies, they're telling you they're going to track your menstrual cycles. If they don't get a report or you're late or whatever, you're going to hear from the government. They're going to want to know why, and you're going to have to explain yourself. This isn't hyperbole.
Yeah.
They're really saying this is what we're going to do to make sure you don't have an abortion and you don't terminate a pregnancy is we're going to track every single period you have. And if you do not have one, we're going to call you in and we're going to check and see if you're pregnant.
Yep.
And if you are pregnant, we're going to track that pregnancy from beginning to end till you squeeze out a baby. And then we don't give a shit about you or that baby after that.
Right. That's the other thing, too, is there's not going to be any support for it. There's not going to be, we're going to shut down public education. You better work your ass off, lady, if you want that kid to go to school because it's not going to be free anymore. It's all of that stuff. And again, I said on Dean's show this morning, and I think it's something that would be really highly advised. I think myself or Lincoln Project or anybody or Midas Touch could do it, which is treat Project 2025 like Dianetics and just put up a page, on screen and go, ending overtime pay is crucial. Page 75, Project 2025. Let people know exactly where to look in the document to find that stuff and just keep hammering it. And then the next expansion of that would be, here's Trump saying basically that plan, or somebody in his cabinet basically saying something that, future cabinet, future vice president, whoever it is, saying exactly that. And the page in Project 2025. That will, I think, help people convince, that need to be convinced that it's real. Because that's the only other thing. I think between now and the election, people need to recognize this is very real, and they're already moving on it. And they've already moved a bunch because, again, whoever the next president is, they're going to pick 2 Supreme Court justices. Because Alito and Thomas are leaving. They're on their way out. Alito's old, so is Clarence Thomas, but they're both Clarence Thomas, more likely, the scrutiny that's coming towards him, it's easier for him to retire than face all that shit because it's eventually going to hit him. So better to cash out now, right? That's the key.
Agreed,
so
totally.
Both of those guys
100%.
are going to be swapped out, and that's going to be another huge issue in this campaign. We literally could shift the demographic of the court in the next presidential administration, the next 4 years.
Yeah, and I keep telling people that are upset. Well, let me start with the hand wringers that are like the "we got to replace Biden" people.
Right.
Let me start with that. Grow a spine, get a set. There's a reason that I have not backed off this at all. You have an opportunity in front of you like never before. The entire Democratic establishment, you could not screw this up. There's nothing you can do. You can't. We're showing up because they are unacceptable. The other side is unacceptable. We have to vote. Just relax.
Right.
I mean, Biden has an incredible ground game. He's got a cash advantage. The polling is looking fantastic. Everybody, yes, the media is going to try to make it look like a horse race. They have 16 billion reasons to make it look like a horse race. And you've got one of the greatest presidents we've ever had against Jeffrey Epstein's pedophile wingman candidate.
Yep.
Guess which one they've got a kneecap?
Right.
To try to make it look like a horse race.
To make this look like something. Absolutely. Hold on a second. This is, let me shut this up. There you go. This is New York Post today, an hour ago. Biden still polls better than any Dem alternative against Trump post-debate survey finds. And that's them trying to protect Trump because he beats him in the newest one. He's up by 2 points now. Harris is up by 1 point, and again, margin of error being what it is, because there's still a certain through line of sexism that affected Hillary Clinton's vote the last time around that exists across the spectrum of independents out there. But this is, again, if that thing was devastating, the way they said, we wouldn't have been talking about the fact that it's a horse race. We wouldn't even be talking about that it's still within the margin of error. And we would not be discussing like, oh my God, the polls are going one way and then they're this way and then they're up a little and down. He would just be wiped out. That would be that. If the calls to step down were as strong from the voters, he would listen, but they aren't. One of the other things too, CNN puts this poll up, has these swing state voters, and they're all sitting around and they go, how many of you think he should stay in afterwards? The majority did.
I saw this. This is great. I saw this.
The presser, they said, how many of you think he should stay in? They're like, I think he's got a great command of the thing. And they were on the fence. They were a no before. And the other three were like, are lean Trump anyways. So they want to sit there with their arms crossed. But the reality is that this was the shift. These were supposed to be all undecideds. 4 out of 7 of the ones they picked say Biden should stay in the race, and they like him. They think he had a good command of the topics that he was asked, and he knew what the hell was going on. Meanwhile, celebrities react to Joe Biden's press conference. He's done. This is what I love. So this is the title. Celebrities. Okay. First of all, fuck off. Secondly, he's done. Well, who said he's done? Was it George Clooney? Was it some celebrity? No, it was country musician John Rich, who is an outspoken Republican and a frequent critic of Biden, took to X, formerly Twitter, to highlight the president's Zelensky gaffe, saying, sharing it, Biden fused Zelensky with Putin, put a fork in him, he's done. That first of all, not a celebrity. Secondly, an already MAGA, friendly celeb who's that everything he's ever said about Biden is he's done. That's like
I wonder what Chachi thinks right now.
Said like celebrities come out against Trump and say he's an embarrassment to the country, and they cite me. Motherfucker, I've been saying that since before he ran for office, when he was just a game show host. He's been an embarrassment. They go to the second.
What do you think, Chachi or John Voight?
Yeah, no. Tommy Lauren was the second one that they went to. So we're still in celebrities, in quotes, by the way. We finally get to Michael Stipe, who didn't like Biden, was a Bernie bro, and believes that, which is fine, whatever. But that's where he came. That's where he comes from. And then Clooney, whose wife Amal is still mad apparently at Biden about the ICC pushback that they got where he was, helping Israel. Meanwhile, Biden versus Trump 2024 election polls. Biden leads Trump in latest survey, but most post-debate polls show Trump winning. Yeah, immediately after. Not now, though. That's why it's latest versus post-debate. He was already leading in those. He was leading right before the debate in a bunch of these, in most of them. Now that is tightened, and in the latest ones, Biden has overtaken him. If this was devastating, we wouldn't even be talking about it. You wouldn't even be able to have a fucking headline like this.
Yeah. I talk to people that are actually on the ground, political, actual operatives, actual consultants, actually employees of campaigns. One of my friends and I won't throw him under the bus, but I will tell you, they do polling that is very strategic, very geared at people. It's not like this press stuff that the Siena poll says, well, Siena just picked up a phone, called a bunch of people that had landlines. That's why their polling is always off by 5 to 10 points. There is actual strategic polling where they will pay people a lot of money, that they will actually go out into neighborhoods and knock on doors and talk to people face to face and get real polling. And the post-debate polling shows Biden took a 3-point bump. He took a 3-point bump after the polling. Everybody saw Donald Trump speak. Everybody just got reaffirmed to them. Oh, yeah, I hate that son of a bitch. Pardon my language. Sorry. Hope we're not on the radio. I'm sorry.
Nope.
Okay. Yeah, everybody had Donald Trump reaffirmed to them. And I keep telling you, Hal. I keep telling you. Well, we need, you've heard him. We need to run Kamala Harris. You are.
Yeah.
You are right now. I think I'm stealing that from you, to be honest with you. You're the one that I think I read that from.
Yes.
We are running Kamala Harris right now.
Yeah, motherfucker. She's already in place. If Biden had to step down, got sick, fell over, keeled over, she is the person. It's automatic. And what the hell do you think happened? You don't even, if in this situation, you don't even have to run somebody and have a big confusing party about fighting over Kamala Harris, or whether it's Gavin Newsom or somebody like that. All she has to do is appoint a vice president herself, literally from any of the people that we pick. Right? That would be obvious. They'd be running for it and people would be talking about it, but it would be super fucking easy compared to a contested convention. And she would be president, and then Gavin Newsom or whoever would be vice president. And then you've got 16 years ahead of you of quality leadership.
Absolutely. 100%.
What's the problem?
And that's what I keep telling people. Everybody's like, well, I don't know if Joe Biden can do the job. Okay. Well, he's doing it right now. Today. And an incredible job at that. Jobs have never been better. The economy has never been better. The outlook has never been better. The cost of housing is high. Guess what? They're lowering interest rates right now. They are lowering interest rates, which is going to bring the cost of homes down. We're in deflation, folks. Deflation, not inflation, deflation. Inflation normally runs, 2 to 3.5% is normal inflation. We're in deflation. That means prices are shrinking at a minimal rate, because you don't want that to happen. You don't want that just to tear loose, because then you're headed for a depression or recession.
Disinflation, right. What we have is technically we have disinflation. Not deflation. Deflation is when you go below that monetary inflation number, where your dollar becomes worse than, that's what we had under Reagan. Is we had deflation. We had the dollar was worth 75 cents. That was the joke. It was like everybody would hold up a quarter and go, this used to be $1. That's what deflation is. We have disinflation, which means the monetary system got overheated, or the lack of availability in the supply demand situation there was too much of it, and so the prices were up for a time being. I'll give you a good example. Trading Places, a great movie where if you want to learn the commodity trading system, you can learn the basics of it pretty easily in that movie. Frozen concentrated
learn how to short commodities. It's a great movie.
Report to see if they're going to have more of it or less of it. Okay, and the price of frozen concentrated orange juice, if the frost affects it, will go higher because there's less of it and people want it. It's a staple. And if there's less of it, they're going to have to charge more because they have less of it. If there's too much of it and it's not going to affect it, the price is going to drop because they've got plenty, if not more than they normally need, and the price will go down. Okay, that's disinflation. Inflation is caused by the frost. Disinflation is caused by the lack of frost. That's what that is. Deflation is when is closer to monetary inflation, whereas there's too much money in the system, and then you pull a bunch of money out of the system to try and cover the fact that people have too much money, and it's like what happened in Venezuela or El Salvador or Turkey, where it's cheaper to wipe your ass with the money than buy toilet paper. That's what deflation causes. We have disinflation, and we're going to have disinflation because none of this shit has anything to do with monetary supply. This all has to do with the shortening of supply chains post-pandemic, because we're no longer making shirts with fucking Xinjiang slave cotton, and we're no longer building our electronics in China because they're not safe and they get stolen. So we're having to move all the factories over here, which is more expensive because we don't starve our workers. That's what this is. It's supply shock. It's not inflation. And disinflation is caused when you finally get the factory gets up and running, or the chickens start producing eggs again after avian flu. That's disinflation. That's what this is. So a little monetary class right there. It's just, I know I'm nitpicking, but it's super fucking important because
you're doing to me. I Cliff's Note shit all the time on my show, and I tell people all the time, I'm Cliff's Noting this shit. I'm not going to get too technical on you. Just trust me. And you're the guy that sends me the email after the show that tells me, let me explain to you.
Well, this is look.
I love that guy, by the way.
I normally have no interest, like as growing up, I had no interest in reading the Financial Times or Bloomberg or Market Watch or any of this shit. It was only when I found, when I was exposed to somebody like Trump, who's just been a cheater and a liar and a fraud his entire life, becoming president and then claiming he knows something about monetary policy while shitting the bed on it, and then claiming that Biden's going to collapse the economy, and it's never done better. And I'm like, okay, there's got to be a disconnect between the two news sources. The one that's, Maria Bartiromo is barfing all over her Fox Business viewers, and what she's actually reading, because she's not pulling her money out of the fucking market and building a bunker and filling it with gold bricks. She's got huge investments. So does fucking Richard fucking Wolff, the Marxist economist that's always on Tom Hartman's show. That dude is a multimillionaire from his fucking investments. And these assholes are I was like, what are they reading and then not saying they're reading? What are they lying about? Because everybody, fucking Kudlow, Forbes, all these motherfuckers that show up on Maria Bartiromo's show, all of them their ties have gotten nicer. They've got fucking pocket squares. Every single one of them is drinking obviously Kudlow's got his hands on some really good bourbon and some gin these days. He's not drinking the cheap stuff anymore because all of their investments are going through the fucking roof.
Yep.
Ugh.
Preach, brother.
Nuts.
Hey. Preach it. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I am with you, man. I am with you 100%. And I just, what I don't understand, and it just blows my mind, is why? Why is the Billionaire Frat Boy Club funding this? What is happening that is causing them to say, okay, we've got to do all of this drastic crap. We've got to kill democracy. What is the big red flag for them? Taxes. They're going to pay a little more in taxes.
I think
that's it. That's really, it's that base.
Yeah, I think it's threefold. On a personal level, I think you're right. I think it's the taxes part. On the other part, they also have investors and investor class people who are outside the country. There's a tremendous amount of foreign investment in a lot of these companies, especially the ones that are waffly on this kind of shit. And it's Saudi money. It's fucking Russian oligarch money bounced through Deutsche Bank. That's what Trump's entire fucking system is built on. Bogus loans, money laundering from Russia through Deutsche Bank. And so to please those people and to keep your head off the chopping block and keep yourself from falling out a fucking window, you gotta give those guys a little bit of what they want. And then third, I think there's this idea that they're living such an insular bubble that they've seen, they're like, nothing's going to happen. I'll just get my money. And it's not really people. The average person yammers about this bullshit, but they've never had it so good. So they should shut the fuck up. They don't know what they're talking about. And if worst comes to worst, we'll hollow out a mountain like Ayn Rand wanted us to, and we'll just pay each other in gold coins. Fuck these dopes. And that's the zone of people we're talking about. That's the, and you've got sensible ones like Mark Cuban or even Bezos and these guys who are like, no, if this system collapses, I'm fucked. So I don't mind. But an increasing number, it's curious because Biden even brought this up in that presser. Like, look who the corporate guys, he goes, Delaware's got more corporations than any other state in the country. I'm not anti-corporate, right? But they got to pay their fair share. And a bunch of these motherfuckers are saying, like, I'm okay with that because the alternative is fucking horrifying.
Yep. And, man, I didn't get to it on my show today because I was going a little long. And, if the shows go too long, people won't watch. But one of the things I wanted to talk about today,
again, by the way, today. Yeah.
Bidenomics, baby. But these billionaires, you've got this whole group of billionaires that have like gone to places like New Zealand, and they've set up these, shelters, these fallback, everything goes south shelters, and the fact that they're so delusional about how that's going to work out, historically, that has never worked. So you've got security there. Who cares? The overwhelming number of people that are going to show up for you.
Yeah.
Your security is going to do one or two things. They're going to A, die, or B, give up.
Yeah.
Your whole delusion about I built this New Zealand compound that, if everything goes south and my plans don't work out and I'll be safe there is delusion. There has never been a moment in history where that has worked out. Ever.
Right.
Ever. And I don't understand who's feeding these people this crap, man. It's like Elon Musk. It's like, who puts this crap in his head?
Right. Well, it's the weird part is, and this is maybe a factor of social media or just ubiquity of cable news mixed with, the same lame apocalyptic sci-fi cultural references that everybody seems to have. They're always the fucking same, right? And that mix creates a perfect storm for people to bullshit people into believing that the end is nigh forever. And the Russians and the Chinese have been working at this for a very long time. The Russians, as our friend Philip Bittner tells us, they're very fucking good at it. But a big part of it is they figured out how to scare you and keep you scared. And they use it on the average person. There's no reason why it wouldn't work on somebody who's rich. It's just harder. It used to be harder to peg them down because they were too busy doing shit. But Elon Musk spends more time on social media than the average teenager does. So, of course, his diet is the same bullshit, psychodrama, flat earther bullshit that Roseanne Barr watches. It's the same shit.
Yeah. And man, it used to be 20 years ago, they thought information was important. Good information was important.
Yeah.
And a perfect example of how it's just gone south is like Modi just met with Putin. And Narendra Modi from India just met with Putin. And everybody's crapping their bed about that, about how, that's just the end of the world, is that and the other. Folks, India is China's problem. Yes. We are China and India's customer. We are not their direct rivals for the most part. We are not. We build different things. We're in different lanes. But India and China are at each other's throats.
Yes.
And Modi meeting with Putin doesn't mean crap to us, really. But it makes Xi really, really freak out, because right now China's just swimming in dirt cheap oil. And here comes India saying, hey, you know what? I'll make you artillery shells if you'll sell me more of that oil. You can pay me in oil. I mean, it's just, it's insane how bad these media outlets get this stuff, man. I mean, it's just.
Well, here's a good example. This is from Newsweek. This is a month ago. Video surfaces of China and India fighting with sticks and stones at the border. So there's a demilitarized zone around northern Tibet that China and India both view as disputed territory. Now, everybody wants the water out of there, but India doesn't need it as much. They have more fresh water than China does. China needs the fresh water from Tibet. That's what they want. They want control of the flow from the glaciers. That's what they want. For an area of the country, by the way, that they are forcibly aerating and providing water, from which that's like us. It's like if we attacked fucking Canada and tried to take over parts of Vancouver's mountain range so that we could divert the water to the middle of Arizona so that we could build golf courses there for fucking no reason at all. It's nuts. It's fucking nuts. But this demilitarized zone is an area where you can have soldiers. Both countries can have soldiers, but you can't have guns. So they, on the one hand, China started bringing their guys in, throwing rocks, and the Indians came in bearing these tridents that they carry, these traditional Indian tridents, and just slashing the bellies open of these Chinese dudes like it's the fucking 8th century.
I don't mean to laugh, man, but it is.
It's fucking crazy. This is here's these are these guys. Intense footage shows Chinese PLA soldiers beating Indian soldiers on yet another border clash. These guys are in uniforms. They've got sticks and like riot gear. There's the Indians and the Chinese. They're just in a fucking fist fight in the middle of nowhere over fucking nothing. This is now. This is right now. And it's been going on, and it's still going on.
And you've got right wingers, literally, all these freaking geniuses on social media, literally crapping their pants over, China. Oh, we got to be afraid of China. I got news for you. What is it? Lunch. 45 banks have now collapsed.
Look at these motherfuckers throwing rocks at each other. This is now. Fucking now. Remember, and I would like everybody to think of this image the next time you hear China's going to eat our lunch.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry,
fucking
folks.
Hell. Nobody. It's weird, but we could literally, if the American news would simply go, China and India are throwing rocks at each other again on the regular. If they just talked about these issues, it would shame China into behaving better because they'd be embarrassed by us seeing it. But they ignore it, so this shit just rolls on. It's just dumb. Yeah.
And you hear people, online. It's the same nonsense you hear about Russia before Ukraine. How inevitable they were, how awesome they were, how incredible their military was, and all this other crap, man. China just mothballed their only real carrier because they can't afford to finish it. Right. It's in sea trials. It's not really even. They just mothballed the damn thing because they can't afford it. They're in nothing is going to stop the real estate collapse in China.
No.
Nothing. We're talking, what is it, $4 trillion or something like that? I don't remember the number, Hal. What is like $4 trillion worth of unsold real estate just sitting out there ready to collapse, and their banks are ass deep in it. They've had 40 to 50 banks collapse. And I'm not talking about just like little regional banks. Like, we just had a bank in Silicon Valley collapse not too long ago.
Yeah,
one bank
collapse.
Yeah.
That's what that was.
They've had 40 to 50 banks die over these real estate investments because there's just no money moving at all. And they're trying to save face instead of like discounting this crap out. I would love to. How much would you like to go into a partnership on this deal, man? Let's, how you've got the expat communities in Mexico? Hey, let's do it in China, man. Let's get us some cheap apartments over there and just move Americans over there with their pensions. How great would that be?
Yeah, the only thing that would save that market is immigration. They could absolutely solve that through immigration, but the problem is twofold. One is it is an ethnocentric country. You got to be Chinese or you're nobody. The same problem that the Japanese have, just on a massive fucking scale, right? And Japan, again, a relatively small island, not a problem for them. They could have one good arc of fucking and they could solve their population problem in a while. The Chinese will never recover from it. And even within China, it's not just Chinese people. It's Han Chinese people. They are trying to breed Southern Chinese, Cantonese people Even the Shanghainese crisscross people that are effectively biracial out of existence. They're sending Han men to the Xinjiang region to fuck the fucking Uyghurs out of existence by placing them in the homes of married couples and letting them have sex with the woman instead of the husband. And again, this is some fucking prima nocta Braveheart bullshit, and it's happening right this second. While you and I are talking, it is happening dozens of times an hour.
But how, man? I mean, you read it on social media. I read it on social media. China's going to eat our lunch, man. Don't you know? We're history. We're yesterday, man.
Right.
But no, China's going to eat our lunch, Meanwhile, in India, I mean, they can't keep track of their own pollution and crap. They're buried under plastic and human feces. All of these countries that are going to just end us. And these same morons that keep selling this nonsense turn around and, they're the ones telling us about our border policy. Did you read? I went through and did a show where I went through the platform from the Republican Party. We're going to seal the border.
Right.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
Do you know how many trucks come across that border You're not sealing shit.
Yeah.
At all. And that's where your illegal immigration has.
Done. If you do, Texas's economy goes from the big fancy Texas economy to fucking Arkansas in an afternoon.
Yep.
You become like a pass-through state. You'll be a flyover state because since the border's sealed, they're going to have to fly or ship stuff out of Mexico to boat ports, and Florida and California are going to be the beneficiaries. You're going to move all of that, and that's exactly what will fucking happen, by the way. All the goods and stuff that come across the land border is all going to be moved to shipment ports because that's the only way you'll be able to do it, and they'll bring it into and Long Beach, California will have the economy of Texas in less than 6 months.
Yeah, that's what we need to happen here in Texas is, let's just hand our economy over to frickin' California. That's what we need to do here.
That's exactly what's going to fucking happen.
Yeah, and these MAGA morons that sit there and vote for this shit because they're bigots and they're like, oh, you're saying you hate them brown people. Okay, yeah, I'm good. We'll vote for that. You frickin' idiot.
Yeah.
You idiot. The Mexicans are our best friends. Yeah. I mean, literally, they are our best friends, and you're disrespecting them, treating them like crap, talking about you're going to seal off your border with them. Bullshit. No, you're not. No, you're not.
Yeah.
Every nation on earth has immigration. It's just a matter. Whenever there is a problem with it, you just deal with the problem. That's what Democrats do. We believe in government. We fix shit. That's what we do.
Well, that's because we believe in the basic function of it to start with. Again, Republicans don't. And this is, again, the names of the parties, I know we use them like brands, but they actually do mean something. They are they're directed by the party ideology. The Republicans believe we are not a democracy. We are a republic. And that republic is and the control of it belongs in the hands of landowners, and that the Electoral College is there so that the rich people can go, these dumbasses don't know what they're talking about. I'll vote for president. I'll gather up these votes and say, okay, actually it should go to this person. That's what they believe in. And that's what their party is based on. That's why they're the grand old party. They predate these foolish ideas of letting one person vote and actually have a fucking say. And Democrats believe in it. That's what we are about democracy. Now, the United States is a federal system. We are a republic that chooses our leaders through democracy. So everybody who's like, we're not a democracy. Yes, we are. We function as a democracy. That's how we choose our leaders, not that we have our leaders. This is the same fuckers that thinks like that it's whatever socialism that we have roads and firemen and shit like that. No, it isn't, because kings and potentates, their fire departments in Iran. There are roads and bridges in Iran. The difference is that in a democracy, you have taxation with representation. So you get to point where your tax dollars go. It's not socialism. It's democratic taxation. That's all it is. And it's a huge difference from how shit used to be run.
Yeah, 100%. I'm with you. I am with you. It reminds me of that speech from the newsroom. That was some of the best TV there was. The speech from Jeff Daniels when they're talking about freedom, and he's just listening on like, Japan has freedom, France has freedom, Germany has freedom, Belgium has freedom. I was like, you morons. Right. The stuff you believe is so freaking just mind-numbingly just stupid to listen to. You know how I thank my audience every day. I make a point to do it every day because, man, you and me, we have to go out there and we have to listen to this stupid crap. We have to listen to what these morons are saying and just marinate in that shit. And when you get to come to your show and you get to be with people that actually know what the hell is going on, that aren't idiots, that aren't brain dead, that aren't, it's like,
yeah, it's such a relief.
Thank you. I mean, it's like, God, I love you people. You keep me sane. You keep me sane.
Man. You too.
I would literally lose my mind. I would lose my mind. You ought to try living in Texas, man. The stuff you hear is crazy.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. You know how the Republicans are all saying, every state's a border state. Well, every state's a dumbass state right now, too, because, it doesn't matter how good your education system is. You still have people from Louisiana in your fucking feed, who can't put if they are real Americans, their grammar might be bad because they're not American at all. I will always cop to that. And if anybody has a fake name or a fake picture or some sort of moniker and gets upset that I don't take their input seriously, then fuck you, man. That's my name. That's my face. You do the same thing. We're on the same playing field. We're good. But if you're going to hide behind an anime picture, a picture of a vampire or an American flag or a fucking eagle and call yourself Joe Eagle 79524, I'm not going to buy your shit. I'm not going to think you're arguing in good faith. I'm just not. Even if you turn out to be American, you're not even the kind of American I would argue with because you're not willing to put your name and your face on the line. In a situation where we have total freedom, you absolutely have the freedom to say whatever the fuck you want. What they're afraid of in those situations is if I get caught saying what I'm saying online, I'll get fired because nobody will want to work with me if they realize I'm a bigot.
Yeah, exactly. And I warned my audience, I said, over the next year or two, AI is changing all of that. The old guys in our Congress really need to catch up on this. It needs to be a felony. I believe this in my heart. If you take and utilize AI, whether it's to, click farm to put out bogus reviews or whatever, if you pretend to be a human being, utilize AI to pretend to be a human being, that should be a felony. Because that's what you're going to see in the next year or two, Hal, is all those people that don't have faces, that don't have their names up there, are going to have AI images. It's AI generated images. They're going to have fake names, and they're all going to have verified accounts because the company they work for pays their couple nickels to Elon Musk, and it's going to be frickin' awful because the way our brains are wired, man, the bandwagon effect is real. Yeah. It affects us all, left, right, everywhere. None of us are immune to the bandwagon effect. And when it quits being that jerk off that is a jerk off, because like you say, he will not put his face, he will not put his name, he will not anything behind it. And it's Lucy Smith that has all the perfect features because a computer went and generated her images and determined what's most attractive in your region, because that's where that AI account is going to be focused on. It's going to be insane, Hal. Or talk me off the ledge, but I'm really thinking they have to get after some legislation because if it is a felony,
the easiest one is, and this will definitely be coming down the pike, is in social media companies will have to let their listeners, viewers, users know what's a bot and what isn't. And if there are known bot accounts or accounts that are unverified as bots, they should have, the algorithm should automatically downplay them. And if a person feels like they're being shadow banned because they're perceived as a bot because all they do is cut and paste shit, they can call a fucking helpline and go, hey, I'm here and here's a picture of my ID and whatever, and I'm a real person. I just don't use this thing. Whatever. That's fine. You'll have all kinds of opportunities to this. But again, freedom of speech is an American right. It is not a right afforded to foreign interests inside the United States. So if you have an account out of fucking Italy or Macedonia or fucking Russia or or China or something like that,
Indonesia,
where you're pretending to be an American, pretend Americans don't have rights under the Constitution. Doesn't work that way, and no one even proposes they should. No, across the entire spectrum. So there should be at some point an actual way of addressing that. I think all like AI voices should have like a digital glisten on them that makes them sound computerized slightly, even if they sound human. They can have a kind of a phaser effect glisten that you could put in there, so you know the difference if you're just listening to a group of voices. And you're like, okay, this is an AI generated voice, even if it's typed by a person who can't speak. That's where it's coming from, right? That's going to be a law.
Right.
That will be a thing. And insofar as pretending to be someone through AI, there should be, I don't know that you'll be able to make it a felony just doing that unless it's for nefarious reasons, because people have the free speech to create a character and fucking be Triumph the Comic Insult Dog. And so there'll be an AI version of that. The ultimate is, again, a crime has a lot to do with your motive, what you're trying to accomplish, what you're trying to do to somebody. And
I don't want it to be that complicated, Hal. There just needs to be an understanding that if something is portrayed, because it is so dangerous, and there is no good reason to do it. Right. There is no good reason. I mean, the AI program that is, yeah. The AI program that is going to help traffic controllers keep track of airplane traffic, you're never going to interact with that. But if it is something that is on social media or your television or whatever, if it is AI and they don't tell you it's AI, there's only a nefarious reason for them to do it.
Yes, there should be a recourse.
Trying to influence you. Yeah, there should be an indicator on the screen. There should be something that if they don't do that, it's a felony. And the reason I say it should be a felony is because it gives our government recourse against other governments. These click farms are all over Asia. I mean, all over Asia, and because you can buy SIM cards there in bulk without registering them. I mean, it's just we need to be able to have.
Where Bongino's entire audience comes from.
Rumble is just what came out in the Heritage.
That's how they. Yeah. That's how they tried to, fake their way to catch up with YouTube and draw audience over there. And they promised them they pay cash to people like Russell Brand and others to put their show there and go, yeah, we'll go by your viewers and we'll pay you out. But they're paying it with direct money from donors and Heritage Foundation people and millionaires that are supporting it. And the watch farm stuff and the ads is all bullshit. They don't actually have any real ad rev, not on part of those things. Alyosha, what are you asking me to repost? I'm confused on what you're asking for the repost on, but so this is.
And did you catch that? What just happened with the Heritage Foundation and that hack with the furries?
Yes.
Did you? My God!
The gay furries.
All the Chinese IPs that were part of the data set. That's insane, man.
Right.
I mean, that is just so. We've been trying to find out who's been funding Heritage forever, and then here comes the furries, and I can't remember the hacking group's name off the top of my head. I'm having a brain seizure. But here come the furry hackers, and next thing you know, all of their data is originating from Chinese IPs.
Yeah. As a bounce through to hide their conversations, because there's two things happening there. One is funding coming from the Chinese and from the Russians, and the ceasefire deal framework. That is, there's no, they're still working on this one thing. The biggest piece of news about the ceasefire that's coming through is that it is the negotiation about an electronic surveillance system around Gaza for the protection of Israel. That will be a constant thing. That's one of the hang-ups, because Hamas doesn't want it, but the rest of the Palestinians don't care. They're fine with it. Both directions, I would suppose. But apparently there's there's a lot of movement on it. We'll see. There's been no direct agreement though, but the gay furry hackers have the release of this stuff points to both one, Chinese and Russian funding for these kind of things inside the United States, right? Yeah. And then on the other side of it, they hide their communications and stuff by using Telegram, which is a Russian site, or some of these other like encrypted sites that all go through China. But here's the problem, and this is their biggest issue, I think, and I don't know why they're not aware of this, but then, Biden brought it up in the presser, is that if you have a company that you operate in China, they have to have a 51% interest in it. And you have to hand over all your technology. So if you're using a Chinese-based, even if it's just cloud-based there, encryption software or an encryption messaging app that's going through China's cloud system or through their servers at all, they've got a backdoor into it. They know. Yeah. All you're doing is setting yourself up for blackmail by the CCP. That's all you're doing. You're just offering yourself up to do it. Now, the Russians break in. The Chinese have a fucking key. So
yeah, and and remind me again who's sponsoring the Republican National Convention?
The Heritage Foundation, the people behind 2025.
All the banners, all over the ones that are exactly who we're talking about. The Chinese have absolute access to all of their data. They have absolute 100% knowledge of all the funding going through. They know what is going on top to bottom, and that organization is funding the Republican National Convention. Yeah. Their name is, don't take my word for it, Google it. The Heritage Foundation banners are all
everywhere
over the everywhere. I don't understand. I don't understand the disconnect that's going on with our media. I don't understand how you cannot wrap your head around the fact that you're not going to be okay. I mean, look what happens in Chinese media. You're not going to be okay. They think that they're going to be able to be, everybody's going to be Tokyo Rose. They all in their minds, that's all, the only thing I can come up with in my head is they all think they're going to be the one.
Right.
And they're not. And there is only going to be one. It's the way it always works. It always works.
And even the people running it don't trust the people who support them. It's why in the Russian Revolution and the Chinese Revolution, in both communist revolutions and in the French Revolution, the sympathetic were the first against the wall. They were because you got if you're not in it as a true believer, if you're not going all the way with it, or you want to just survive or make good, or you think it's a positive, 80% change or something like that in your system, you're of no use to the purebreds in this. And so it's you or them. It's, they're going to kill you because you're not 100% in on the cult, which is what the MAGA problem is with the rhinos, right? Or you're a rhino and you've got more power and you're like, these maggots are going to come kill me. They got to go. Soon as we get in there, they got to go. And if you don't think the Heritage Foundation doesn't want to pull a CCP level purge of the fucking revolutionaries when they get in there,
they're telling you,
right? These folks have got to go. And if they, they're either going to fall in line or they're going to become a bigger problem, because there is no situation where the maggots don't become the next wave of like Waco. We're over the hour, and I want to let everybody know when your live streams are. Your current schedule. Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 o'clock Central. You can find me on YouTube. Just search for me, or go to realtexaspaul.com. There's a link that'll take you directly there. There you go. And thank you so much, brother. I look forward to the video you were working on earlier when you post it later on today. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you very soon. I have to go run and throw some clothes in a bag and then run to the airport. So I'm off to Tahoe to do Nerd Halen tonight, and then Boston for the Sexy Liberal show tomorrow, and back on Sunday like a maniac. I've got Biden's schedule right now. So so thanks a lot, brother. Well, good luck, man. Enjoy the show. I can't wait till you do another Nerd Halen show around here, man. We're going to have to do a meetup
Just get the audience out there. Everybody, I don't know about you, but they keep saying, hey, I want to hook up. I want to have a beer. I want to have coffee. I want to do the other. Let's do it at a Nerd Halen show, man. I'm telling you, it rocks.
I love that idea.
It rocks.
I'm for it. We'll make it happen. Because I know we're booked there again in the fall, so we'll do it when it's cool and we can gather someplace and we'll figure out a place near you. Be great. Thank you, brother. All right. There he goes, ladies and gentlemen. Texas Paul, the wonderful, the talented Texas Paul. And thank you guys for tuning in today. And check out Dean Obadala's show later on Sirius. I did his show this morning. We pre-taped it, and it'll be up, I don't know, what, noon his time? Something like that. Not long, or no, that's when we taped it. So like 2. Either way, love you guys. See you later. Gotta go. Gotta catch a plane. I gotta go.